Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And a good morning to you. It is Thursday. It is April 6th. We've had torrential rainfall in the area. That's led to some localized street flooding, and the morning commute's been a little tricky. We'll talk to Stephen coming up.
That's right. So Stephen Cavazos and Justin Horn have been busy all morning because of this messy morning commute. Let's check in with Justin first.
We're busy, but in a good way, because this is rain we've long needed, and it has it's been here most of the morning. We've picked up some good numbers. At the airport, we've picked up close to 1 inch, which is great, and I think we're going to see more throughout the day. Now, it has let up a little bit. We had a good batch move through, and that's working its way up towards New Braunfels, San Marcos, and Austin, and then some very heavy rain taking shape here from Cuero to Gonzales. You see all the lightning strikes. You know that's some torrential rainfall. We'll start, though, here in San Antonio. We do have an area of pretty good heavy rain with some lightning strikes here moving through the south side of San Antonio. So there's 410 right there. And then you get up to 90 and I-10 right there and 37 where they intersect. That's where some of the heaviest the rain is. And this is tracking out to the north and east. We'll zoom in a little bit closer here. And it's right along Interstate 37 where you're going to have really torrential rainfall. And right there along Roosevelt Avenue, the rain is coming down very heavy, and down towards Military and where 37 and Military cross. That's another place where the rain is probably coming down at a rate of 3 to 4 inches per hour, and that's going to cause some minor street flooding. That's a possibility throughout the morning. But so far here in San Antonio, really, we haven't seen severe weather. We haven't had flood warnings or anything like that. So this is just good rain, and we love to see that. There is more development off to the south and west, by the way, so there's still more that's going to come through during the day. And very quickly, I do want to check out what's going on over here in Gonzales. We've got a good batch of rain, and Gonzales is closing in on 1.5 inches of rainfall. So this has been a good thing for South Texas. Other than we did get a little bit of severe weather last night with some hail around Seguin and Lavernia. Right now, we're checking in at 50 degrees. That's it. It's chilly. Northeasterly winds at 13. We're almost registering a wind chill at this point, and it's going to be rainy most of the day. Don't expect temperatures to warm up much at all. Mid-50s if we're lucky here with northeasterly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. We'll talk much more about our rain chances and how long they continue and potential rainfall totals here in a bit. But let's get over to Stephen now, who has been extremely busy this morning.
Yeah, Justin, you know, anytime there's a lot of rain, there's always a lot of problems out there. Guys, this is our latest one. We need to get some information confirmed from our friends over at KSAT and TransGuide. But traffic back to back there at 35 at Space Center. You see one of those San Antonio fire units out there as well. I'll take a step out so we can actually observe the scene together. It also looks like a vehicle may have spun out. You can see a white truck out in the distance. Again, not confirmed. We don't even know what direction this is just yet, but we're going to work to get that information for you. And I already talked to our producer, Alex. I'll be back here at 9:30 with more updates. But for now, let's talk about what we're seeing on our map. Plenty of issues to talk about still. I-10 eastbound at Dominion Drive, we actually have a crash that's leading to some big delays for drivers in that area, and not a good space either, because those eastbound lanes, a lot of folks tend to make their way into the Alamo City from, let's say, Bernie. This is going to cause some problems, so just watch out as the commute does get rolling. Let's go ahead and take you back here into town. 410 westbound. Better news to report here, though. A crash at Ingram Road has cleared out, and it looks like the area is open for drivers. But still, take your time. We know the roads are wet this morning, and we still have an issue not too far from there, actually, at 410 westbound at Fredericksburg Road, where you can see a little bit of a delay building, but that looks to be in the eastbound lanes. Let's now give you a wide view of the metropolitan area. Still too many crashes for our liking here, but we are going to watch things very closely throughout the morning. We know that it has been a messy commute. We've had 18-wheeler rollovers. We have even had 18-wheelers hit guardrails. So those have cleared out, but the roads are still clearly wet here, guys. 35 at Space Center. We're going to work to get some information, but what I would like for you to do right now is scan that QR code. That QR code is very helpful because it takes you to our KSAT traffic page, and there's a list of current incidents that are being reported right now. So we're tracking it all, talking to our friends at TransGuide, talking to Justin about what we can expect in the forecast. So we're going to get you through it on the roadways. Guys.
Thank you, sir. New information this morning on a deadly shooting at a northwest side apartment complex. San Antonio police say the 41-year-old man shot and killed may have violated a protective order against him. His name has not been released at this time.
This all happened around 2:45 this morning at the Preserve at Westover Hills apartment complex, not far from Loop 410 and Culebra Road. Officers tell us that the 23-year-old woman who called police said she shot the man after he showed up unannounced. Officers are still investigating that shooting, but right now, no arrests have been made.
Here's a look at today's 9 at 9. Former Vice President Mike Pence says he will comply with a grand jury subpoena to testify in the special counsel investigation into the alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election and the January 6th Capitol attack. Pence says he will not challenge a federal judge's order compelling his cooperation. His testimony could be weeks away unless Donald Trump's lawyers try again to block it.
A judge in the defamation lawsuit against Fox News says Fox chairman Rupert Murdoch and his son can be forced to testify in person. Fox News is being sued by Dominion Voting Systems, which claims the network damaged its business by allowing some of its most popular stars to claim the company's voting machines rigged the 2020 presidential election. The trial is set to start on the 17th.
A massive storm system is on the move right now after yet another tornado outbreak. Nearly a dozen tornadoes have been reported over a 48-hour period, spawned by a long cold front stretching from the Gulf of Mexico to Lake Erie. At least 6 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours.
China is warning the U.S. not to provoke it over Taiwan, saying that supporting Taiwanese independence would be a, quote, red line. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the Taiwanese president say independence wasn't the reason for their meeting. Bipartisan members of Congress are using the visit to show support for the island.
Pfizer has asked the FDA for approval of its RSV vaccine for adults. Researchers say a late-stage trial shows, quote, exciting promise. The vaccine could become the world's first ever to prevent RSV, which is a common respiratory virus that causes mild cold-like symptoms.
International travel is on the rise. AAA reports that airline bookings are up more than 200% compared to 2022. Europe and Canada are the most popular destinations, with Rome, Paris, Vancouver, and Dublin as the hotspots. Unfortunately, higher demand for flights means higher airfares, but it doesn't seem to be deterring travelers from going abroad.
Walmart says it plans to have about 2/3 of its stores serviced through automation by the end of 2026. The announcement comes as the retail giant said it plans to lay off more than 2,000 workers at several of its e-commerce warehouses. Walmart says workers will have higher salaries and less physical labor.
Health concerns about a popular Easter treat. An advocacy group is calling on the maker of Peeps candies to stop using red dye number 3 over cancer concerns. This comes as a newly proposed bill in California would ban some candies that contain chemicals linked to health problems.
Today is the last day to register to vote for the May 6th elections. Not only are the mayor and city council seats up for grabs, but voters will also decide whether to amend the city charter with a sweeping ballot proposition. For more information on how to register to vote, just head to KSAT.com and click on the Vote 2023 section. Early voting begins April 24th. And that's today's 9 at 9. In your morning headlines, apparently it was no double bubble gum, more like hot pepper bubble gum, and boy, does it burn when kids tried it.
Plus, there is some excitement at the White House, and this is Masters Week, the most prestigious golf tournament of the year. And the road to Augusta has some interesting turns for golfers and fans. David Sears is here.
Quite a bit of drama in Augusta this year.
One of the hardest tickets to get is to go to see these players at Augusta.
I've heard that.
So,
yeah.
And this guy is there. Weird twist of fate. We'll have that for you in just a second, but first, let's talk about this. TikTok, the gum is hot. Here's another one of those outrageous TikTok challenges, and it involves hot bubble gum, and we do mean hot. A kid brought some to the elementary school in Massachusetts, gave it to some of his classmates, and things blew up in more ways than one. The gum was so hot, kids were getting sick, and we're talking hot like pepper spray hot, according to officials. Kathleen Woodward got a call from the school to come get her 9-year-old son, Michael, and he had some of the gum. When she got there, he was throwing up, and Mom was burning up mad.
Walked in, and kids were crying. They were just lined up down the hall, in the front hall area. Like their hands were red, their faces were beet red, and they were crying and saying it hurt. Some of them were like a deep red. Nobody knew what they were dealing with. Nobody had heard of this. The doctor's fingers started burning from examining him. My arms were itching and burning.
The local police department got on their Facebook page to warn parents that it was part of a viral TikTok challenge. You're supposed to chew it up and blow bubbles with it, but the gum was so hot, kids couldn't even get that far. Michael had to wear gloves for the rest of that night. The burn eventually wore off. He went back to school the next day. Mom says the school should address the situation. The superintendent of the school says they are investigating and they will take appropriate action. But parents also need to keep up with their child's online activity. They are hopping happy at the White House. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden will be introducing us to a new Easter Bunny mascot for the annual egg roll on the White House lawn on Monday. Monday is the 143rd White House Easter egg roll, something to really get excited about. Their theme again this year is egg-ucation. They are expecting about 30,000 people, including celebrities like Olympic gold medal winner gymnast Dominique Dawes. All right, meet Scott Stallings. This is him, the golfer, right there. And this is Scott Stallings. He is now a member of the gallery at Augusta, watching the other Scott. Their paths crossed in a very unique and beneficial way, at least for the gallery Scott Stockings. In a weird twist of fate, Scott Stallings, the Atlanta realtor, got the invitation in the mail to play at Augusta, but it was meant for the golfer Scott Stallings. So realtor Scott sent the invite to the three-time PGA winner, Scott the golfer. As it turned out, Scott the golfer had a few surprises for the realtor. One, tickets to Augusta, and two, dinner with him.
Road to the Masters is long.
Less traveled, for sure.
Less traveled. Just a chain of events that you couldn't write this stuff if you tried to.
Just the excitement of receiving anything from Augusta National, and then, kind of hearing, the back and forth of him thinking that was his tickets, and it was a ticket, I guess, just a different kind. Golden ticket.
Well, it turns out he framed the invitation and then signed it, saying from one Scott Stallings to the next. And I said, I can't believe it. It was just amazing. And
after all that, we got the invitation.
He said,
back.
I can't believe you can't part with this invitation. He said, it's done its job.
It got him there, yeah. So what a great story that is. Very unique way to get to Augusta.
No doubt about that. I mean, case of mistaken identity, obviously. By the way, I looked up to see if there's a David Sears pro golfer.
No.
There's not, but did you know there's a scout for the Lions named David Sears? Yeah. Dave Sears? Did you know that?
Maybe I'll end up at a Lions game.
You might.
Or some obscure college game.
And Mike Osterhage would say, lucky you to wind up at a Lions game.
He will be jealous.
All right, David, thank you very much. 9:10, 48 degrees, still ahead on GMSA at 9.
A couple was concerned about how their toddler was being treated at a daycare, so they sewed a recording device into the child's jacket. In our next half hour, KSAT Investigates shares those stunning recordings.
But first, a San Antonio tradition returns starting tonight, camping at local parks for the Easter weekend. But what to know before you go out to the park is coming up.
And let's take a look at the radar out there. It was busy this morning with showers, and we're still looking at some moving through our area. We're going to be checking in with Justin for the very latest after the break.
Okay, we have 4 accidents working right now with eyes on 2 of them. We want to start with this one. This is at 35 southbound at Space Center. You see San Antonio Fire and police are on the scene there. There's another one working right now, far northwest side, eastbound I-10 at Hewerman. Now, it is showing up on the camera. I think they just moved this camera or changed the direction, but it's eastbound 10 right there at Hewerman, which is just past Dominion Drive. We're also getting a report of high water at 281 North at Bassey, right there, I think, by the Alamo Quarry Market.
And you can see there's a bunch of rain in our shots and, raindrops on the lenses of the cameras there. Looking out there with live cam, not only rainy, but cool this morning. Quite a change from yesterday, Justin.
Oh, seriously? We're down to 48 now?
Yes, temperature keeps dropping. The rain is pulling down some cool air. It's chilly, it's cold, it's damp, it's wet. It's one of those days. And there is going to be more rain moving its way through. And I'm glad you mentioned 281 and Bassey. That's always an area that tends to fill up with rain when we get some heavy rain. So be careful. There are going to be those spots around town. For the most part, we haven't been dealing with a lot of flooding, but the usual places where the rain does tend to pile up. I want to first start with the radar, show you that we've got a pretty heavy storm working its way through the east side of San Antonio, right through Kirby right now, and working its way up towards Converse and Randolph. You're next in line, Randolph Air Force Base, to see this, and it's going to produce some pretty heavy rain as it moves out to the north and east, and you'll see those lightning strikes intermittent with this as it moves along I-10. This is just making its way out of downtown. So that's one area of heavy rain, but we've got several more pockets around the area. And this is just southeast of the airport, by the way. We've got a few more showers trying to work in from the south and west. Another heavy pocket out there around Castroville. This will be working into San Antonio here within the hour. And we'll zoom out further. Now, in general, we've seen sort of a decrease in activity. And it doesn't mean the rain's going to completely stop, but maybe not as widespread as it was earlier. And Gonzales continues to get hit with some very heavy rain, although kind of the backside of it's starting to move through. And you see the lightning strikes associated with this cluster of storms that'll move up towards LaGrange, and that continues right down the highway there to Cuero, where we've got some heavy rain and showers and storms. 183, that was the number I was looking for. Cuero up towards Gonzales. That is a highway where you're going to be dealing probably with some high water in spots, and even back over towards Smiley, you're getting some good rain there. What I'm going to do here is switch it over to the radar estimates. We'll get it centered, and we can look at how much rain the radar thinks we have received. And these aren't, hard and fast numbers here, but they give you a general idea. We'll pause it. And where you see those purple colors, that's up to 5 to 6 inches in some cases. And that's why we have a flash flood warning in effect. For that little narrow corridor there where the estimate's pretty high. Now, the rain has stopped, but there probably is still some flooding ongoing. And that flash flood warning, by the way, goes until 10 a.m. this morning. And that does include the city of Campbellton, right there along Highway or Interstate 37. There is just, again, a narrow corridor where there was pretty heavy rain earlier this morning. Otherwise, here in San Antonio, the estimates are more in line with 1/2 inch to 1 inch, which is basically what we're seeing with a lot of the reporting sites. This is showing around 1 inch or so here on the north side, maybe up to 1.4. I think that may be a little bit high, but right around 1 inch here in the city. With some of the heavier pockets of rain. Okay, I want to show you a photo from last night. This is out of Seguin. We actually got some pretty decent hail. There were some severe storms last night. The severe threat has basically gone away. We're more dealing with just the heavy rain, but you can see all the hail. It looked like it snowed in some cases there in Seguin last night. So as we look at the forecast going forward, 80% chance of rain today. Still some pockets of heavy rain here and there. This is around 6 o'clock. If you're out west, the rain is going to be less, but we're still seeing some showers, thankfully, developing out there. And then as we get into tomorrow, this model is backed off a little bit as far as rainfall goes. I do think tomorrow's more in the form of light showers versus the heavier rain today, but it's still cloudy, it's still cool. And it's not until Friday night that we can really say goodbye to the rain chances. So our forecast today, 54 noontime, 80% chance of rain. We're going to be lucky, honestly, to get up to 55, just the way temperatures are right now in the upper 40s. And as we go into tonight, same story, low 50s, decent chances for rain. And 1 to 3 inches is going to be the average, I think, from San Antonio points east. As you go west, unfortunately, the numbers do fall off some, but hopefully we'll at least get a little bit of rain in places like Del Rio and Eagle Pass. And very quickly, your Easter forecast. Good news here, all the rain moves out. We'll get some clearing late on Saturday and partly cloudy and nice on Easter Sunday, 74 there. We have added in some small rain chances Monday and Tuesday.
A guy we used to work with here at KSAT owns a cattle ranch now, and one of the first messages I saw on Facebook this morning was him saying, thank goodness for the rain. It has been a long time coming.
It's been a long, long time. You really got to go back to October of last year since we've seen rain like this. Yeah.
And he needs lots of space because he's got long horns.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Yep.
Yep.
9:19. Despite the rain, we're sure some people will still head out to local parks to camp out for the Easter weekend.
The San Antonio tradition is back, and Tiffany Huertas joins us live from Woodlawn Lake Park with details on what's new this year and what you should know before you go. Good morning, Tiffany.
Good morning, Mark and Stephanie. We're already hearing that some people are getting their spots, and check it out. Even though it's raining right now, that will change, and local parks like this one, Woodlawn Lake, will be filled with family and friends celebrating Easter. Tonight, park curfew will be lifted. And to talk a little bit more about this, we have Connie with Parks and Recreation. Connie, good morning. Thanks for joining us. What happens tonight?
Yes, so we're excited to be able to lift our park curfew. So this will go into effect Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. And so what that means is folks are welcome to come out to the parks, pitch a tent, and camp overnight. This is an amazing San Antonio tradition that's so unique to San Antonio.
Several parks are participating. Which are the most popular and what's new this year?
Sure, we have Woodlawn Lake Park. It's one of our biggest parks. We have San Pedro Springs is another popular park. And of course, Brackenridge Park.
And new this year?
Yes, new this year is we're so grateful for First Tee. They are sharing their space with campers this year starting Friday after 3 p.m. So we have a new space where folks can go out and enjoy and camp out over the Easter weekend.
There's some things that people should know when they come out here, but during 2022 Easter weekend, visitors disposed of 19 tons of trash and 5 tons of recycling just in Brackenridge Park alone.
That's right. And to help with that effort, we encourage folks to recycle properly, but to also bring extra trash bags with you. I think we produce a little bit more trash than we always anticipate. And so if you bring extra trash bags, that really helps us out a lot.
Awesome. We're going to have all the details of all the parks that are participating, and we're going to go check out the park and see if we can find some folks. I know that, Connie, you saw some people this morning.
I did. I saw a couple of people pitching tents already in the rain.
I'm telling you, San Antonio is awesome. This tradition is going to be great, family friendly, lots of fun. We'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
922, 48 degrees.
When we come back, what you need to know if you haven't filed your taxes yet as tax day approaches.
The clock is ticking towards tax day, and if you haven't finished or started your federal return, get a few extra days to do it this year.
But if you're procrastinating because you find the process too daunting, there are still places to turn for last-minute help. CNN's Karen Kaifa explains today's Consumer Watch.
With April 15th falling on a Saturday and a District of Columbia holiday on Monday, April 17th, the deadline to file a federal tax return is April 18th this year, which gives people who haven't filed yet a little extra time to check their work.
Think about what went on in your life in the last year. Did you move? Did you have a child? Did you get married? Did you start a new job?
Tom O'Sabin of the National Association of Tax Professionals says the current filing season is less complex than the pandemic years.
A lot of the things like the stimulus payments and the advanced child tax credits, we don't have those this year. Those existed in prior years. 2022 looks a lot more like 2019.
The IRS says the most common errors on returns include missing or inaccurate Social Security numbers, misspelled names, and inaccurate figures for things like wages and income. They say math errors and incorrect calculations of tax credits and deductions can often be avoided by using tax preparation software. On Saturday, April 8th, the IRS will open many of its tax prep centers for weekend walk-in, in-person help. Some sites will offer specialized help on retirement and pension topics for taxpayers age 60 and above. And taxpayers recently impacted by severe weather in Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, California, and New York may have extended federal filing deadlines if they reside in declared disaster areas. Full eligibility details can be found at irs.gov. For Consumer Watch, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Right now we're at 927, 48 degrees. There's more ahead on GMSA at 9.
Including a look ahead to the Spurs home away from home game in Austin tonight. David will be back with us to talk about the game.
Plus, a stunning recordings a couple captured if they sewed a recording device into their toddler's jacket to see how their child was being treated at daycare.
And a quick look at the roads with TransGuide. It's still a mess out there at I-35 at Space Center. Stephen Cavazos is checking on this and some other incidents we have in our area. We're going to be checking in with him very soon.
And outside right now with radar scanning the skies over south central Texas. Some bigger storms are moving out, but we've still got a big one out near Schertz, and Gonzales just got hammered with torrential rainfall. Showers are still in the area. More could form. We'll talk to Justin coming up.
Welcome back. Let's get right back to radar and show you what the rain is doing now. We're seeing things sort of let up actually a little bit here around San Antonio. We still have a couple pockets here of heavy rain, but we're starting to see a little bit of a break in the action, and that may last for a little bit before we get some more development this afternoon. The heaviest of the rain's up there around Schertz. We're seeing a few lightning strikes there affecting areas along Interstate 35 and then 1604 on the far east side. This will work its way up through the Garden Ridge area and then eventually up to New Braunfels, where some more heavy rain will track through. We've already gotten some pretty good rainfall totals up there around New Braunfels. In parts of San Antonio, where we've picked up close to an inch of rain. Another area of moderate rain on the west side, and then the very heavy stuff that we were talking about that had been moving through Gonzales, now shifting into the Shiner area. Hallettsville, you are next in line to get some good heavy rain. This is moving out of Cuero and moving in your direction with some lightning strikes at this hour. So again, things trying to quiet down a little bit, but the rain was helpful in knocking down oak numbers some. We'll see where we land tomorrow. I'm hoping this number is a little bit lower. Whenever we get a good heavy rain, tends to tamp down some of the pollen. Molds at 450. Now that number probably jumps up by tomorrow. As we go outside for you, we can see cloudy skies, wet roads, and 50 degrees at the airport. That is it. With the north-northeasterly wind at about 13 miles per hour, that means there's some wind chill values out there in spots. 51 noontime, 80% chance of rain. We'll top out only in the mid-50s with decent chances of rain most of today. There will be some breaks here and there with some more decent chances for showers coming up tomorrow. More on your forecast coming up in just a bit. And we're going to go over to Stephen now and check in once again on those roads.
Okay, better news here, Justin. We did have a crash at 35 at Space Center. It looks like that may have cleared out, but now we have detected a stall in the vehicle, or at least two vehicles that are experiencing some trouble out there. Notice that the drivers actually stepped out. So guys, don't do this. You don't want to drive right next to those vehicles when they're off on the shoulder lane. They have their hazard lights on, I believe, so move over. Slow down. That's what you should do anytime you see a situation like that. It's pretty dangerous. Roads have been wet, and that's the area where we did have a major crash that was also reported. Again, this was 35 at Space Center. We did learn it was in the southbound lanes, and that's why there's a little bit of a buildup that's also taking place out there. Just give those drivers plenty of room. Hopefully a TxDOT Hero truck, our first responder, will arrive on the scene and help those guys out. But let's take a jump back over here to I-10 over near Dominion Drive. We did have a crash that was causing some pretty significant delays for drivers as well. That's already cleared out, so things are looking a lot better. And in fact, the morning commute has already dwindled down, and some of the major issues we've been focused on throughout the morning have already cleared out. So again, better news to report, but we still have to keep a very close eye on the roads because they're not dry yet. It looks like we did get that better update there at 35 at Space Center, where we did have those two vehicles that you just saw. So it looks like our friends at TransGuide have also given us a different shot. But before we toss over to Mark and Steph, I do want to give it a quick look around town. Again, roads are wet. You see a lot of those droplets on the TransGuide cameras. We'll continue to monitor these roads closely. In fact, we'll even have an update on KSAT News Now coming up at 11. So we'll watch these areas very closely.
As soon as you went to your maps, those two cars left.
They did.
Yes,
they did.
That same camera shot.
So fantastic news. Hey, and really quick, big shout out to our friends at TransGuide. They have been calling. We've been calling them nonstop. And thank you guys again for working with us and getting these shots and updating our viewers as well.
It's a good partnership, and thank you to you, Stephen, as well. All right, concerned about the treatment of their toddler at a local daycare, a husband and wife sewed a recording device into their child's jacket.
The recording then captured audio of employees using profane language and one even threatening to harm kids in her care. Take a listen.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna beat both of y'all. That's what I'm gonna do. You're
KSAT investigates the stunning recordings and the fallout for all sides involved. Our Dylan Collier has the story.
Just weeks after enrolling their daughter at Moss Rock KinderCare last fall, Aaron and Carly Hernandez noticed a drastic change in their 1.5-year-old's behavior.
She had started being really, really violent, hitting, kicking, screaming.
After witnessing an employee refusing to give her child water, Carly took a page from a spy novel and in December sewed this small recording device into her daughter's fur jacket. For nearly 7 hours, it recorded 2 employees of the Early Childhood Learning Center cursing. One of them repeatedly berated the Hernandez's toddler and other small children inside the facility.
You're nasty. I'm about to go for wait for some of y'all right now. Touch it and you die. Go! Now stop combining for just for target. Just gonna wait for me because I will end up in jail.
Aaron had anticipated nothing much being recorded by the device, but after the couple downloaded the audio files,
first thing that she said to me was, "We're not sending her back there," and she had tears in her eyes.
I just felt really deceived and just devastated for my child.
Carly reported the employees to the San Antonio Police Department and Child Protective Services. Both agencies said their investigations are ongoing. Detectives in particular are looking into whether the recordings constitute terroristic threats. Neither woman has been criminally charged. At least one group, the National Association for the Education of Young Children, is no longer accrediting the location as of late February. Staff at the daycare declined to speak to KSAT and instead referred us to immediate contact for their parent company.
Thank you for calling KinderCare Education.
Shortly after reaching its voicemail, KSAT received an email statement from KinderCare calling the employees' behavior unacceptable and that both women will never work for KinderCare or any of its brands again.
I trusted these people, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to do that again.
For KSAT Investigates, I'm Dylan Collier.
So our San Antonio Spurs are in Austin for their home away from home games today and Saturday, and KSAT 12 Sports will be there.
Yeah, San Antonio Spurs in Austin. Anyway, Ramirez is already in Austin. David Sears is going to be joining with him later today, along with RJ Marquez, and David is back.
Sounds weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. You can't blame for Spurs to be rubbed the wrong way.
No, I think some Spurs fans might be, a little disappointed. I tell you what, if they were in a playoff hunt right now, like fighting for playoff position or something like that,
yeah.
I kind of wonder what it would be like for Spurs fans having to watch their team fight for that playoff spot in Austin.
You're 100% right.
But
we're not.
But we're not. So, yeah. So, matter of fact, we are guaranteed one of the best chances to get that first pick because the top three all have the same percentage in the lottery. May 16th is the date you want to remember after the next three games. Remember, I guess it was summertime when the schedule came out. We found the Mexico game, and then we looked, and it was like back-to-back in Austin to finish out the home season. That was kind of weird. So but here we are, and there they are. Spurs getting off the bus yesterday, arriving in Austin. Today's going to be like a regular home game day. They'll have a shoot-around this morning, and then they will have pop talking at 5:45, and then the tip-off is at 7 o'clock, and then they'll have post-game. So today's normal for the game against the Portland Trailblazers, who are kind of in the same boat the Spurs are. They're not going to the playoffs either, so it'll be interesting. Spurs have 20 wins. They only have like 33 wins. So it's going to be a very interesting game. But these guys need to take advantage of the last three games of the regular season, regardless of where they're playing. They're still young. They're still learning. They still need all the opportunities they can get in game situations. And they're going to be playing in front of Austin. They're going to be playing in front of a different kind of crowd. So they want to put on a show. And that's the whole idea behind this. I think at least one of the ideas is to put on a show and maybe get some more fans. Broaden their brand, as they say.
Right. And I heard the hot hashtag, according to Steph, she was looking up, is Spurs Get Moody. Hashtag Spurs Get Moody because they're playing at the
Moody Center. Yeah, it's brand new. So, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Get to go up there. And then you saw the game on Saturday. It's at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon against Minnesota. Now, Minnesota is actually in that playoff tournament for the first part.
3 o'clock.
Is it 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
3 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
In the afternoon.
It's in the afternoon. It's a weird start time.
So that's it, right? That's our final home?
Then they go and they play Dallas.
And then we're done.
And then we're done.
Okay.
So they play actually in Dallas. It's a away game away.
Away.
So they need to have a home game. The away game at home is what they need. That'll figure that out. RJ is headed up there. Like you mentioned, Larry Ramirez is already there. A lot of things going on. There's some stuff going on tomorrow for fans. They've got this big fan fest going on from 5 to 8 up there, and you can meet and greet Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley. Now, you'll want to get to know those two guys because they could very well be superstars in the next few years for the Spurs. So get to know them now, and you can say, hey, I knew them when.
Right.
Yeah.
When they were just young and rookies and just learning, and now look at them. They're superstars. So. There you go. There's your opportunity for that.
That's exciting.
So, we're going to do a live stream from inside the Mooney Center tonight at 5:30. RJ and I will be there. So join us for that live stream at 5:30.
Have you been in there yet?
I don't even. I go around Austin. So I don't even know what it looks like. I don't even know where it is. I got to find it today. I don't ever go through Austin anymore when I drive up there.
I'll be there in
to
May.
Austin. May?
For a Cure concert.
I got to say.
The Cure.
Who's playing? So, but it's going to be fun. Be interesting. Looking forward to it tonight.
Nice.
So.
Spurs in Austin.
We'll go. You know what they say?
Go.
Spurs Get Moody.
What do they say?
Go
Spurs.
San Antonio Spurs.
There you go.
Go.
Specific there.
We don't have
Keep it that way.
We don't have any sort of security inferiority complex or anything, do we?
No.
Not at all. 9:41, 48 degrees. You're watching GMSA at 9.
Another live look out there with the radar. You see some showers moving through our area. We're going to be checking in with Justin Horn for the very latest when we come back.
Okay, taking a look at TransGuide right now. I'm getting conflicting information right now. TxDOT is reporting an incident at westbound 90 at Meadow Creek. I am seeing TransGuide signs that show an accident and the left shoulder is closed, and it is eastbound Meadow Creek. Nonetheless, it looks like we've got a vehicle in the middle of the road right there. So right there in that area, you can see lanes affected, especially the ones right closer to the emergency vehicles that are in that area. But an accident 90 at Meadow Creek doesn't appear to be affecting the other side. Just be advised.
Yeah, be careful out there. Just looking out there with live cam, rainy and cold. I know Justin's not a fan of the cold, but at least we have the rain for you, Justin.
It's chilly. It's so chilly for April. Just saying. A lot of people are loving it, though, and the rain is so very great. Want to show you a picture in our KSAT Connect. Look at this. Almost looks like snow right there in the kind of the center lane. This was out near Bernie just a few minutes ago. They got some pea-sized hail, but it piled up. And you can see the ice sitting in the middle of the road there, and then also right along the edges. And so there was quite a bit of hail that fell there in Bernie. It was quick. Thunderstorm came through, but that was the scene there. I'm guessing that might be along I-10. Yeah, they say that just north of Bernie on I-10. And no, it's not graupel. It is hail. But it's just really, really small. Good stuff there. Thank you so much for submitting those KSAT Connect pictures. Always helpful for us to have a look at what's going on where you are. Here's a look at the live radar. And in general, we're starting to see things wind down just a little bit. Back edge of the showers in storms trying to work through. Looks like we've kind of had one wave move through here. We may get a break in the action, then some more showers and storms possible this afternoon. Heaviest of the stuff is here around Gonzales, moving towards Lavaca County, and we're getting some good heavy rainfall that is just starting to surge into the Hallettsville area, and you're going to get maybe up to an inch of rain out of just this storm here, just based on its history. It's moved through Gonzales, moving up to the north and east, and this is the heaviest action we have on the radar right now, but there are some more showers and storms even back off to the west here in San Antonio. We talked about that storm that moved through Bernie. It's that one right there. It shows you how quickly it's moving, but now up towards Fredericksburg. And here in town, we've got just moderate rain really on the northwest side. Leon Valley now making its way up towards 1604 in Hollywood Park. So you'll find some more downpours there, and the rain is starting to add up. We've seen some pretty decent totals even here around the city. Now, I do need to point out that the western part of our viewing area, not much out there. We've had a few showers here and there, but not enough really to help with the drought situation, I'm sorry to say. So if you're watching us from Del Rio or Eagle Pass, Crystal City, I know you need the rain. There is still some chances as we get later into this afternoon, but the best odds are going to be I-35 and points east. And the rainfall totals really do tell the story. There has been a corridor there south and east of San Antonio where the rain has been at its heaviest. Gonzales down to just south of Pleasanton. But even here around Bexar County, we have picked up some decent numbers, closing in on an inch, probably a little bit above now here in San Antonio at the airport. Kelly about half an inch, Stinson about half an inch, and hopefully we add to these numbers. Some of the best rain we've seen in months around here. And here's a look at the forecast going forward. Yeah, maybe a little bit of a break, but as we head into the afternoon, there should be some more development. This is around 6 o'clock. Still an 80% chance of rain. We're going to keep that in the forecast. Now, as we get into tomorrow, models are kind of backing off a little bit of any sort of heavy rain. I think we'll still see some light showers, but it may not be as widespread as what we were looking at today. So we'll bring rain chances down a little bit on your Friday, and it does clear out by late on Saturday and into Sunday. 50 right now. That's it. Temperatures have actually gone down throughout the morning because of the rainfall. And we've got a north-northeasterly wind at 13. That makes it feel all that much cooler. Your KSAT 12-hour forecast, 51 at noontime. We'll be maybe in the mid-50s this afternoon. And we'll blanket that 80% chance of rain. But again, keep in mind, it's not going to be raining all day. There'll be some breaks here and there, just some intermittent showers, just kind of damp and chilly. And as we go into tonight, still in the 50s, and most of tomorrow will be spent in the 50s. Saturday, though, clearing late, 70, 74 on Sunday, and partly cloudy. Easter Sunday looks good. Works out well. Timing works out. 57 coming up tomorrow, but 70 Saturday, 74 on Sunday, as we said. And a little bit of a model change. We've added in some rain chances Monday and Tuesday. That's a change from what we were looking at yesterday, and brought temperatures down just a little bit to start next week.
Wow, I just can't believe the current temperature on April, what's today? 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah, early April.
48 degrees at almost 10 o'clock in the morning.
It's cold.
It is
I don't know if I
cold.
like it.
Yeah, it's temporary. You know that.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks,
I'll be all
Justin.
right.
Yeah, you will.
Hey, we have an update on a story we reported on early in the newscast about a deadly shooting at a Northwest Side apartment complex.
San Antonio police initially identified the 41-year-old man who was killed as the suspect in the case. Now they say he was a victim.
The shooting happened before 3 this morning at the Preserve at Westover Hills apartment complex near 410 and Culebra. Police say the 23-year-old woman who called them told them she shot the man.
Now, initially they said he may have violated a protective order. Now they have named the woman as a suspect in this shooting.
And by the way, Stephen just confirmed that accident on 90 at Meadow Creek is affecting the eastbound lane. So our hunch was correct. Right now, 9:50.
We'll be right back.
Coming up tomorrow on GMSA at 9, Max Massey is going to tell us about a foundation looking to give out $60,000 in scholarships to people working on their college degrees. How you can apply and what one former recipient says this scholarship did for them.
Plus, he had a career with Border Patrol and now he's in the classroom inspiring young people. We're going to tell you how students at Jefferson High School are thankful to have their criminal justice teacher at their school, and we will introduce you to him tomorrow as he gets recognized as KSAT's Educator of the Month.
All right, guys, we're back with one last traffic update. This is what we showed you as we went to commercial break. Mark had mentioned this. We have that confirmed as a crash in the eastbound lanes of US 90. Now, the reason that this isn't a bad crash is because only one lane is impacted at this time. I spoke to TransGuide, so obviously we know the commute has been pretty busy throughout the entire morning. We've been watching things very closely. Roads are wet, but right now this seems to be the only crash that's been reported in the area. I do want to get a look around here in town. You can really just see that it really not a lot has changed in terms of the conditions of what we've been monitoring. Wet roads, wet TransGuide cameras. You can guarantee it's going to be a soggy commute this morning. So just take it slow if you're still at home and you have to head out the door. You can barely really see anything there at 410, but 10 West at Loop 1604, things are moving by just fine. Remember to slow down. You could see, as Mike would say, kicking up some rooster tails right there, right?
Yeah, so, very fond of that.
Yes.
That's exactly what's happening.
Well, we're watching it.
Serious rooster tails. You know, a lot of people have tomorrow off, so I'm wondering how many people slept in today. It's one of those kind of days. Cold, damp, wet. We're still looking at showers here around San Antonio, but in general, we're seeing things wind down a little bit, and I think we're going to see less activity on the radar as we go into the next couple of hours. May pick up again, though, this afternoon, and we've got some pretty decent rain chances. Temperatures hold right there in the 50s rest of today with about an 80% chance of some showers and storms. As we mentioned, Easter weekend still looks pretty good. It'll be around 74 on Sunday, so the sky's clear. But today and tomorrow, fairly damp. And coming up on KNN, KSAT News Now, Mia Montgomery will have more coverage, live coverage of what's going on, and she'll be with you at noon as well.
We were able to thread the needle and get in before the storms early this morning, and now maybe we can go home without getting soaked.
I know. We got
about now.
All right. We'll see. You guys be safe out there.